Welcome back to another episode of 100 Apps, 100 Hours. I'm your host, Bryant Gillespie, and on the show, we build some of your favorite apps or some of your suggestions or just random stuff that I've come across on the internet in 1 hour or less, or get publicly shamed trying when we fail. And I fail often. That's just the rub of this format. The rules are there are 60 minutes to plan and build the application, no more, no less. Sweating just thinking about it. But rule number 2 is use whatever you have at your disposal. AI, GitHub Copilot, Tailwind CSS, Tailwind UI, any pre-made components, whatever we can to get the job done in 1 hour. Today, we are going to be building a job board. So the giant elephant in the room in this space is obviously Indeed. They're one of the largest job boards. It's been a while since I've been on their site. The experience is not great, honestly. Maybe everybody's working on mobile or something, but I think the job board that we're going to model after today is we work remotely. We are an all-remote team here at Directus, so this speaks to my heart. I've been working remotely for the better part of a decade now. So we are going to model after this. Let's dive in and get started, shall we? All right, so we'll put 60 minutes on the clock. Let's just talk through the functionality that we're looking for here. And as I pull up the We Work Remotely job board, what's our functionality, right? We want to obviously show a list of jobs. In this case, they're sorted by category. We want to let users post a job for a fee. That's nice. And, this one's got subscribers as well, which seems like something that is relatively simple. There's a lot of moving pieces to that. So let's add a question mark and we'll do subscribe to job posts. Now, I think this one does not allow you to apply within the platform. I think it just sends you off to a third-party thing. So that's the way we'll play this. If you wanted to build an application processing system, you could totally do that with Directus. That's a lot of ground to cover in 60 minutes, though. So let's take a look at this. Let's flesh out our actual data model, right? That's part of the planning process. So I'm just going to drag some boxes over here inside Figma. What are we going to have? We're going to have job posts, or we could call it job listings. That's great. Within that, we're going to have a few different things. All right. What do we got? We got some tags, it looks like. So we've got a category. We've got a title for that post. We've got some content. We've got a link. We've got a company. I guess if you're going to have a company, that would probably be here. That'd be a separate table, right? There's a company. Company has a name, a website, name, website, logo. Great. Okay, what else are we going to have? If we make it 2 subscribers, we'll worry about that when we come across it, but let's dive in, right? This seems pretty good. We'll just draw some arrows to make it look fancy, right? A company has multiple job listings. One listing has one company. All right, great. Let's talk about what we're working with. So as far as applications, I've got a Directus instance spun up. It is blank. I've got a bare bones Nuxt app that has some login and register capability. Looks like I'm already logged in though, so all good there. And as far as the Directus communication, I've already got a Nuxt plugin defined just to talk to Directus a little bit easier, make it a little less boring on this specific episode. All right, so let's start by, I'm going to pull this up side by side with remote. Oh, no, that's not what we want. I could spend the whole time just messing with the Arc browser. All right, so we're talking about job listings. We're going to go ahead and add that as a new collection. And I think I can zoom in a little bit to make that more visible. And then we'll look at the actual listings that we have, right? One of the other things that I do often is, I'm not sure how this site is put together, but on sites that are server-side rendered, you can go into the actual code, and especially if it's like a Next application, or I'm not sure if Nuxt does this or not, but you can actually see the data that's posted. Not sure if that's the case here. I see jQuery. This is probably server rendered from an actual server. No big deal. But just one way you can kind of see what other folks are doing on the website. Always inspect the code. I live in the JavaScript developer tools console. All right, so we're going to have a job listing. We're going to have a pretty slug for all of these. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a draft and published listings. Probably got a date created, the user created, the date updated, etc. And let's go through and model out our listing, right? So we've got a title for the listing. We're going to have that. We've got to have a slug for the listing. So we'll just do a slug for the listing. We'll come back to that one in a moment. What else are we going to have? We're going to have some content. I see there's tags here. I don't know exactly how they're using the tags, but it looks like the tags get their own page. So in that case, it makes me think we need like a relationship there. Let's look at that. We'll do a many to many relationship, because one post could have many tags, and there could be many tags to other posts. All right, so we got tags as a key. I'm going to enter tags as a related collection here, right? And if I open up the advanced field mode inside Directus, and I scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that it's actually going to create a new table for me. So that tags table that I don't have, it's going to create it for me, which is kind of nice, right? And I can add this to the tags. I could show the job listings on the tags that have that specific tag. And maybe we could sort these as well. Cool. All right, so we'll hit save. We've got tags. We also should have a tags collection now, which is nice. We have a junction table for those as well. Then we're going to need some content, right? We need the actual content for this. That's going to be the WYSIWYG editor. Was it great? Cool. The type will be text. That's what it's going to be saved as in the database. I can always adjust my toolbar if I need to. And what else do we need, really? Apply for this position, right? This is going to be a URL. So apply URL, application URL. That's what we'll roll with. We're probably going to need a category for this as well. So if I go back to all the jobs, we can see we got sales and marketing. If I zoom out a little bit, we can see all the different categories up here at the top: programming, design, etc. So we're going to create a new relationship inside Directus. Let's call it category. And we will, again, create a new collection here. So even if this doesn't exist, Directus is going to create this for me, which is super. It's a really easy, super nice way to do our data modeling. We can add the different job listings to the categories if we want to. In this case, maybe I don't need to show that. But we will. We don't have anything to adjust as far as the interface because this is not created yet, but we'll just go through the process. So we've got a category for this. We've got tags. And if I go back to my data, I'll see categories here now. So we've got categories, we've got tags. Great. What else are we missing on this? Is this a featured post or not? I'm assuming that's part of the checkout process. So, we could add a Boolean tag for that, is featured. I always like when I'm doing my keys, especially if they're Boolean, prefix with it is. There's just a nice little standard naming convention. And on my interface, maybe the label is featured post. Great. Okay. All right, so this looks pretty good. I want to say. Right. We'll make some of these things half width. Maybe we make the title full width. We got the status. Actually, let's do this. We got status. We got title. Let's put slug down below title. And don't sleep on the Directus marketplace, right? One of the extensions that I've been using a lot here lately is the WP Slug interface extension. If you're used to WordPress, you got like this nice little slug interface there. We're just going to install this, give it a quick refresh. Then I go back to my data model. I go to my slug, go to the interface, and I can switch this up to my slug. I get a template for this. So we're going to populate the title. I could potentially prefix this or auto-generate it as well. So I'm just going to do on create, because after a thing is created, it's been published, changing the slug results in a different URL on your front end. Could result in some nasty 404 errors. We don't want that. 404s, get out of here. All right, so we got a job listing category. We've got, did I do job listing instead of job listings? I did. Man. All right. How can we fix that? We're not going to bother with it. I could dig into the SQL and adjust that if I needed to, but we're not going to worry too much with it right now. Typically, I keep my table names plural. Just a personal preference. All right, so we've got a category. Let's go ahead and flesh out these categories. We need a title for the category. We probably need a slug for the category as well. So I can go back into my job listings, and if I want, I can duplicate this field to that collection. So we'll just change this to slug. We'll go to categories. Great. And in that case, do we actually want the tags to have their own page as well? The tag will have a title, and the tag will probably have a slug as well. So we'll just copy that across. Slug, change the collection to tags, and away we go, right? The last thing that we talked about is a company. So we want to be able to select a company for our post, and potentially a company could post 3 or 4 different times. Maybe they're hiring for a lot of different positions. So let's create a new table. We're going to call it companies. We'll do a generated UUID. Do we need all this information? Probably not. All right, so we'll give the company name. Whatever I choose to name this key is totally up to me. And then we've got the website. That's just going to be a string. And then we're going to have a logo for that, right? Logo. All right, cool. So now we've got it's just a basic data model set up. Let's go in, and I'm just going to just rip some of this content. We work remotely. Sorry for just stealing information off your job board here. Let's look at our different categories. So we'll just mop up a couple of these categories really quickly. We've got what? Programming. Oh, gosh, I can't spell. Programming, save. We've got design, save. What else do we have? Sales and marketing. Sales and marketing. And what happens if we do this? Sales and? Oh, that's kind of a nice effect. Sales and marketing. Maybe we change this to just be sales-marketing. Customer support. Customer support. Great. Okay. And this is all remote, so what are we going to call this thing? Maybe we'll call it Dan's remote job board after some of our own teammates here at Directus. All right, so we got some categories. Let's take a look at the tags within here. We've got full-time. We've got part-time will be a tag, right? Part-time. What, SEO? Link building, WordPress, technical writing. What do we have on the development side? So we've got programming, we've got full stack, front end. What kind of tags do we have here? Europe only, etc. Hang on just a moment. I got an important call coming in. Be right back. All right, so now we're back. We got 46 minutes on the clock. Let's dive in further. We've got some tags. We got like Europe only, etc. Great. Okay, so those are a few tags. We got some categories. We've got, let's see if there's any companies that we recognize on here for full stack development. I don't really recognize any of these, right? Let's just create a new company here. We'll call this Directus, HTTP Directus.io, and we'll add the logo for this, right? See what I got handy. Directus logo. We get this a couple different ways. Logo type. That looks good. That's what we'll roll with. We got the logo type. Maybe we add another company, but for now, let's just add our first listing, right? I'm just going to steal this one. Full stack. All right, we're going to make sure this is published. Is this a featured post? Looks like it is. All right, we'll go in. And I could just copy this wholesale. And I'm thinking it should retain some of the content, some of the settings. Yeah, okay, so it should retain the formatting for it. And then we're going to have a link for the application. And the last thing that we need to do is pick a category, and we probably need to add a company for this as well. And I joked, it's not the last thing we need to do. We're going to add a few more. This is going to be a Europe-only job. Be $100,000 or more USD. That's kind of a nice tag. Let's do React as a tag. Oh, sorry. Creating an item and a tag. React. Great. All right, is this a featured post? Yes, it is. Let's save that post, and then we'll go in and add a relationship to that company. So that'll be a many-to-one relationship inside Directus. We're going to call this company because there's a single company, and then we have companies. And, you know, we could go in and add the company name here so that it displays nicely. We probably want to do the same thing for our categories. Like, we'll give them a title, make sure those show on the interface and the display template. Same thing for tags. For our list view here, we're going to do the tags ID dot title, and we'll do the same thing here. Great. Okay, so now if I open up this job, we can see our different tags for this. We got our category. We've got the company that this is created for. Sweet. All right, so now we got a job listing. We've got some categories. We've got some tags. We've got some companies. Does the company going to have a slug? You know, potentially. Do they have a listing here? They do. So probably need a slug for the company as well. Slug. The template is going to be the name of the company. Great. All right, so we've got our data model for this, right? The next thing that I'm going to do is just go through our access control and create this. So there are two roles that are out of the box inside Directus. I have public, I have administrator. I'm going to go through and just basically set read access to all these. And then I could go back in and adjust this if I need to as well. So we're going to adjust the item permissions just a little bit to where we can only see published posts. So I'll go through listing tags, categories. I don't know the categories. Did we do published for categories? We did not. Tags, etc. Yeah. So the rest of those are fine as is, right? People can see all the companies, all the tags, all the categories, but if it's not a published listing, they can't see that information. All right, so great. Let's go in, and now is it time to actually start fleshing something out inside our Nuxt application? Let's take a look at that, right? So we've got here on the, how do I separate these two? All right, cool. So Nuxt application on our pages directory, we've got an index page. This is probably going to be just our listing of posts, right? So we can start fleshing this out a little bit. Let's remove this centering. That should move it way up here to the top. We'll just add a header for this. And what are we going to have in the header? We're going to flex. We're going to do Dan's remote job board. That's the name of this thing. We'll make sure it's like a mono font for Dan. I know how Dan likes his stuff. Okay. Let's give this header a little padding. px6, py. All right, and we can even make this like sticky at the top if we want to. Sticky, top 0. Give it a background of white. BG opacity. We can do that backdrop blur effect. One of the nice things about using Tailwind. Backdrop blur. BG opacity. I could actually just adjust it this way. Let's do dash or /50. And cool. All right, so now we've got a header. We might have some links inside our header that we'll cover in just a moment. Let's do a div to UL links. Do we actually need these on a list? Probably not. Let's do what? Nuxt link. V4 links and links. Links on links on links. And let's actually call this nav links. And we'll just flesh a few of these out real quick. Nav links, that'll be an array, equals array. To about contact, no, that's, we want none of that. Home, we've got what? Categories. To, we'll come back to it. Let's just nuke that for now, or we could just comment it out. All right, as far as what we want inside the actual body of this here, we'll do this in the main section. We are going to fetch our job listings, right? So Nuxt has a couple of nice composables for fetching data. We're going to use that here. But the first thing I'm going to do, let's import the read items operation from my Directus SDK. Oh, Directus SDK. And then I'm going to use the async data call, the async data composable from Nuxt. Use async data. And this handles like caching and deduplication. And actually, if this is server rendered, it will automatically dedupe those calls and pass that data from the server to the client so that I don't have to fetch the data twice and hit that API. So we'll give this a, let's say this is listings index. We'll give it a key, and then we'll actually fire this off. And we're going to actually await this data. All right. Then within here, we're actually going to use our Directus client that we've set up. We're going to access that through our Nuxt plugin, and we are going to do this. So we'll say return Directus.request. We'll do read items. We're going to read from the, what do we call it actually? Call it the job listing collection. So that's going to trip me up this whole time. And then we have a query that we could set up. We could run this where it says filter status equals published, but I'm handling that here within my access control inside Directus. So it doesn't really matter. So as long as this is published, like if I go in and let's just say I change this, we say we maybe set this to draft and I hit save as copy. And I probably need a new slug for this. And I would definitely make slug unique here. So let's just do that quickly before I forget. We'll go into the data model. We'll go to listings. We'll make sure that slug has to be a unique value. All right. So this will be listings. And then I typically do something like this whenever I'm building, just to quickly and easily make sure I'm getting all the data that I want back from my API. All right, so we go to localhost. We can see we've got this job board, and I need to actually get this out of the header and into the main body here. All right, so there's our application, our job listing, basically, right? That's great. We can see our tags. We can see the company. We can't really see any of the information about them, though, right? And if we take a look at our postings here, let's see what we got. We got the company information. We've got the company name, etc. So how do we go and fetch that data with inside Directus? We'll just go in here. We'll do something like this where we have fields. I don't recommend doing it this way in production, just using these wildcards, but for something like this where I'm quickly prototyping, super handy for that. I could just get all of the root level fields. I can get all the company level fields. I could get the category dot star, and then for our tags, I'm going to get tags dot tags underscore ID. I'm going to get that field. All right, so if I do that now, you can see I get the extra information that we're looking for. So I've expanded my relationships for tags, for the company, for our category, basically everything I need here. Looks great. Looks great. Okay. And I'm getting both of those things here because I am using session authentication. I've got a cookie here that's storing my session token. So if I wanted to, I could go into incognito window, and that should solve it where I'm only getting one of those items back. All right, so I'm going to pull this up. We work remotely over here on the side just so I can see that, and we'll start fleshing this thing out. So within our listings, we've got, let's do a div. Probably add like a H2 here. This is our job listings. Give that font bold, text XL, maybe 2XL. All right, and maybe we give the whole main section a little bit of padding. I think there's a U container Nuxt UI component that we'll just use for this. I'm using UI.nuxt.com, just a Nuxt UI library, just to have something to build with quickly. All right, so we got our job listings. Let's go through. We're going to do a card component for each one of those listings. So V4 job in listings. The key, we could use the job.id. And here inside the card itself, let's see what we got. Job title. Is this actually going to be what we want? What's this going to look like? Remote. Yeah, it's not really anything that we actually want here. This is going to be company name. Category.name. Category.title. And this could be remedied by TypeScript if I had all these things typed probably. But as far as the tags, that's going to be the title of the tags as well. Cool. All right, so how can we get this to look a little more like what we have? We'll go through and flesh this out a bit. Wrap this. We'll put it in a... it doesn't even need to be a grid. We could just do like a single grid. Give us some gap. 6. All right, we got some space there. We'll give it a little breathing room. Cool. All right, so we've got some job listings. We're going to want to give these a link. Where did that go? Oh, just disappeared. Need to learn my keyboard shortcuts, don't I? What are we doing, Bryant? I did it again. All right. Maybe I'll just use the cut paste here. Wrap this in a Nuxt link component. We're going to do this. The 2 for this will be something like this, where we have listing plus job ID. Yeah, potentially. Let's actually do it this way. Just use a template literal. Job.slug. Wrap that. Don't forget the ending tick. Cool. And now we have a link that does not work because we don't have a route for that. But let's see if we could show the company information as well. Maybe we put that here. It'd be within a div. Got the company name. We'll show Nuxt image source.company logo. See if we can get that displaying. Okay. Now we'll shrink that a bit. Object. Oh, hang on a moment. Just go here. Class object contain. Make it what, 24 high, 24 wide. Cool. Within this, we could do like a flex, add a little bit of gap. And, you know, if we wanted to, we could get fancy with it, but let's, how do we set this off a little bit? Oh, actually, the title for the company is over here on this side, isn't it? All right, so go in, wrap these in a div. That should give us like some type of formatting here. And if I really wanted to make it look like the one on We Work Remotely, and I don't, we'll just add a border for this, round it a little bit, get a little bit of padding, P1. And maybe we make the border pretty, make it violet. There we go. No, that looks poor, actually. I don't like it. All right, we'll make it more subtle. There we go. So we got Directus, we got change this as the name. We've got our job listings. How are we doing on time? Time-wise, we're at about half an hour, right? All right, so we got some job listings. We can see a list of those. How would we do something like a filter for these? Or we probably actually want to list these by categories, right? So would probably actually switch up our data fetching here into we'd probably look for categories first, but instead of diving into that specifically right now, let's actually get a detail page up, right? So we've got a route for this index page. Let's go in and add a route for our listings. Great. And then we'll go in and add a new page. Let's call this the slug.view. So we do have a listing there. And maybe I just copy pretty much all of this. We'll actually, what do we want to keep here? Let's just keep the card component. That's got our information. Maybe we keep the U container just so we get some base styling. And if I wanted to, I can move this header component out of this and into our actual app itself, or in probably like the default layout would be a good one as well. Just post that there. So now that will show on every single page. All right. So as far as our listing, we're going to fetch that data here. I'm still going to use the read items call because we're fetching by the slug and not the actual ID. So what we're going to do inside Nuxt would be something like this, where we use the route composable, or use route composable to get the route. And then we're going to set up a filter for our slug, and we want that to be equal to route.params.slug. So this should give us our listing. And then what we're going to do here is at the end of this, using the use async data and the, I think it's use fetch composable inside Nuxt, have an option set where I can transform this data when I return it. So this is going to give me an array, and I only want the first item of the array. So even though this only matches one thing because the slug is unique, it still returns an array because of the read items SDK, or the read items method of the SDK. So we're just going to transform that. And then here inside our card, we don't really need that anymore, right? So does this give us what we want? Cannot read properties of undefined of slug. Why do we not have this, right? Here's our listings. There's our slug. Route.params.slug. Directus.request. Read items. Job listing. Cannot read properties of undefined of slug. Let's just comment this out. See if the page actually loads. Yes, it does load. Let's figure out why we're not seeing that. So the Vue DevTools is really a great tool if you're developing with Vue. We'll look for the slug component. See what we got. We got listings. Oh, that's why. That would make sense, right? Sometimes it's the typos, especially when you're building quickly, they get you into trouble. So here, let's just remove the card. I don't even need this Nuxt link component anymore. Okay. And within our layout, let's get some navigation so we can actually move backwards here. Make this a Nuxt link. Nuxt link. Change it to 2. Do slash. Cool. So now I can should be able to go back and forth. There we go. Go here, go there. Amidst options, next to header slot. What am I doing wrong there? All right. Anyway, so this is going to be our job. And now we've got our job listing. Cannot read properties of type. All right, let's go back into Directus. And is this because of our access control? We've got it. Let's set it up so we can read the files as well. Does that give us what we want? Okay, so at least now I've got some type of card information here. How do we want to display the actual content for this? Right, if we go into one of these, we've got the job title, the logo here is on the right, as well as the company. So we could go in and flesh this out. We could spend a ton of time on design here. I'd rather focus more on the important bits. So let's just do a main component. This is where we'll stuff the content. We could do v.vhtml or div.vhtml, v-html. That'll be our job.content. Okay, that should show. Cool. This is not really nicely formatted, right? So using Tailwind, they have this really nice prose class we could use to get that formatting. Looks pretty great. Maybe we add some padding to this container. I don't even need that. Just strip this away, or not some padding, give it some margin. This looks a little odd here at the top. Let's remove that. We've got Directus is the company. And this could be another Nuxt link. This could be to the company, to /company/job.company.slug. That's what that would look like. And inside this div, maybe we just add some spacing. Okay. All right, so now we could potentially navigate to the company, but there's no page for that. But here we've got our actual job posting. How do we want to use like a button for you button. Is it the apply URL? I think I've got application URL here. Apply for this position. Great. What's that going to do? Job application URL. Is that what I set this up as? Let's take a look at our data model. Application URL. Job application URL. That should be correct. And we want this to be, let's make this a block class, block. And maybe we drop that below the actual name. We don't have a description for this. It's great. Maybe we do this. Just set off this metadata just a little bit. Okay, we hit apply for this position. And this should open that in a... Oh, it's because I've got href. Let's try this. Apply for this position. That should give me this application page. Great. What is this going to be? Inline block? There we go. Okay, so now we've got our page. We got our company information. We got our job description. We could drop another button at the bottom of this content. Looking nice. All right, we are cruising on like 20 minutes worth of time, right? So how can we actually create a post, right? We've got our posts. Let's go back and we'll do a new route. We'll just call it listings.new. I'm just going to copy the same setup that we've got. Just moving really, really quickly. Just drop everything out of here. We're going to keep Directus. In this case, we're going to use create items. Create item. Great. And on the front end, if I wanted to be able to create a listing, we're going to need to add some navigation for this. So we'll just, let's actually stick this inside our header, right? Where are you? That's in our default layout. So over here on the far right, let's actually flex these items, justify between. Oh, it's I already had the flex. Great. And we'll do listings.new, post a job. Great. That takes us to the job new page. And on the new page, why do we not? Okay. Okay. So now we're going to post a job. Let's take our same heading here. Post this in here. We've got create a new job post. Okay. All right, so now we can start fleshing out our actual form that we want, right? So let's just do form. This could be reactive since we've got some properties here. What all do we have inside that listing, right? We've got a title. Maybe we don't want them to actually choose the slug. We've got a category. That should just be an ID. We've got some tags. This is going to be an array. We've got some content. That's going to be a string. We've got an application URL. And we've got a company, which it's actually should be a string. Just an ID, but we'll have to actually fetch that information. And then at the end of this, we're going to have a function to submit the form, right? Submit listing. And what's that function going to look like? Let's do a try catch. This is going to be a constant response equals await Directus dot request. Create item. Yes, this looks good. Form.title. Okay. All right. GitHub Copilot. I got you. And then what are we going to do? Console log response. We could send them to like a thank you page or something. Maybe we're tracking like a success state here. And we set success value to true. If there's an error, we're going to log that error. Great. Cool. All right, so we got submit listing. Now we need to actually build a form, right? Inside this Nuxt UI library, I think there is let's just dive into it. Form component. You can even add validation with this using like Zod or something like that. But we've got our form wrapped in a form. There's a form tag. We've got @submit. Let's do .prevent submit listing. That's going to be our form handler. And then inside the form, each one of those gets wrapped in a form group where we got a label equals title, a placeholder equals amazing Directus developer. That'll be our placeholder for this. This will be that's probably actually on the actual input itself, isn't it? All right, and then we have a uInput form.title. We have a placeholder. Let's see what we're getting now. Cool. Amazing Directus developer. Maybe our form isn't so wide. 3XL. Did that bring it in? It did not. math width. Okay. That's still a little long, but no worries. Okay, so we've got our title. We want to go through and add the rest of our form. We got a category. Let's see what GitHub Copilot can do here. Yeah, it's not giving us a lot of help here. But we can drop some of these inputs. Maybe we add some spacing between our form components here. So we got tags, we got content, we got an application URL. Let's make sure we get that application URL. And all right, so for this, like the company information, the category, etc., this could be a list of companies, right? So what do we have inside Nuxt UI for something like this? We've got a drop down. Is that what we're looking for? Does this have a search? No, that's going to be input menu. I'm assuming this could be an input menu based on the preset. This is searchable. Search attributes, control the query, async search. Okay, here we go. So we got a async search function. We can search for a company inside Directus with this. This will be an async function. Let's call it search categories or search companies maybe. Let's do the company first, just to, well, actually, let's do categories. We have them fill out the company information. Constant, what our data is going to be await directus.request. It's going to be read items. We're probably going to need like a search query as well. Oh, that'll be passed here. This will be our string. Loading value, read items dot categories, or categories is going to be here. Inside that request, we're going to need a filter. Actually, let's use the search for that. And we'll just do search query. Now, the search param here is not optimized like the filter params are, but let's see what we got here. You form group, you input menu. Oh, wrong one. We want this to be our, let's drop this in our category. You input menu, search equals search categories. This is going to be form.category. Search for a category, and we could set a loading state for this as well. All right, let's see what we've got here. Search for a category, inline properties, not length. If I do this, is it actually searching for a category? Programming? I don't see it. Search categories, loading, form.category, placeholder, option name, attribute is a title. Title. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm missing something here. Oh, I forgot to return something from that actual function. Gotta return the data, Bryant. Makes sense. All right, see if we got anything else now. Is this actually working? I don't see it calling any of the data, though. Directus.request, read items, categories. Oh, that's why. Got to import read items as well. All right, so we refresh. Programming. Okay, now we see sales and marketing. And inside my actual listing, right? Where's the form? So we got our slug. Oh, this is actually new. All right, so we got our form, we got the category, we need the ID of that category. It's selecting the actual object, option attribute, title. Category.title. Is that going to give us what we want? Oh, no. Option attribute by ID. Why is it not storing? When it selects the value, what do we actually want here? vModel async search. Use the debounce. You know, we could add a debounce to it. Let's actually deal with that in a moment. We need to actually submit this form first. All right. For the input menu, what else do we have? Okay, I see like a select menu here that's probably very similar to this. Does this one support multiple objects? It does. So I can select multiple tags for this. This is probably going to be what we're looking for there. We can actually probably genericize this as well. Where we have a string, we have a collection, which is a string. This is going to be our search. This is going to be a collection. And in this case, our search would be search categories. What's that going to be? The categories? Actually, categories. So it's just be search. Does that work? Is that going to give us what we need? For some reason that doesn't work. Undefined. Search fn. Do I have like another search variable or something? String q. All right, does that get us what we're looking for? Let's try it again. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we're getting that. Let's copy in our useSelect menu. Does this have the same async search capabilities? It does. Our useSelect menu, this is going to be multiple, so we'll get our tags. vModel equals form.tags. Our search function here is going to look like this. So get our search function. This is going to be tags. Search for tags. We've got the option name is going to be a title. That could be multiple. It could be by ID. Great. And now we can see like full-time, part-time. We've got some tags selected. Great. All right, let's add some buttons. Add just a single button to our form group. We'll make it type equals submit. And what are we going to do here? This will just be submit listing. Okay. We've got a job post. Cool. For the sake of this, we got like 7 minutes running on the clock. I am going to allow people to submit a new listing here publicly. I would probably make them log in or create an account first, but for the sake of just getting this done, let's try it this way. And then here, form.title.tags. Let's just see what we're getting first. Here's a new post. When I search for my programming category, we'll apply a couple tags here. Here's the amazing content for our job post. And we've just got a new link. So http directus.io. We look at our form component. Let me close this. So open this back up. New is the name of this actual component. Why don't I see it? New. There it is. We can see the state of our form. Our tags are an array of objects. Our category is an array of objects. Here, I'm just going to do this, where we do category form.category.id. I think that should work here. For our tags, probably going to have to do some type of mapping. .map tag.tag.id. Okay. Oh no, I lost my amazing post. We are coming up very quickly on the end. We need an amazing Directus developer and 100 apps, 100 hours host. Probably after I fail at this one, we'll do design, full-time, SEO, we'll select 5 tags. Here's some content for this post. We'll do the Directus URL, and let's see what happens, right? We'll do a network request, post. I don't see anything happening. Submit listing, type equals submit within the form, submit listing, add submit.prevent listing. Does this need, do I need like a click handler on this? I shouldn't. Let's try it anyway. Submit. Why are we not making a single call here? Submit this. Why are we not submitting? Prevent default. Add submit.prevent. Maybe it automatically does that for you. Oh man, I hate to cut this down to the wire, huh? We are going to cut it down to the wire, aren't we? Test. Array of errors. We got what? Internal server error. What did we actually send to the server? Here's our payload. Tags 1, 2. Application URL. Category is 2. Company is test tag. What kind of response do we get? Why is this an application error? Job listing, submit listing, Directus.request, create item category. Man, this is frustrating. Form.application.url. I click submit listing. Why isn't this going through? Maybe we unselect these things. Can I unselect one? Submit listing, errors. Internal server error. Man, there's something that I'm not picking up on. Create item, job listing, title category, form.id. What if we just drop these two? Can we actually get this to submit something? Content. Test. Job listing. We've got the public ability to do the job listing tags. Is that what it is, maybe? All right, we're just throwing the Hail Mary pass here. You can edit anything. And no, we're still getting errors from the Directus instance. Internal server error. Is it like a cores issue? You know, if I log out, or if I do this in an incognito window, test. Still getting an array. Items.joblisting, response, redirected, false, errors. An unexpected error occurred. What do I have wrong inside this particular setup? Title, status. Is it the slug that I made unique? Slug has to be unique. Is that what it is? Test. I'm going to kick myself after we run out of time on this one. Item, job listing, post. What is going on? Is it a particular, like a CORS problem? I thought I had CORS set up. CORS enabled, CORS origin. Is it a... Oh my gosh, dude. If it is a CORS problem, we're going to kick myself if it's a CORS issue. Docker compose. Let's see what we've got here. I see some logs. Error, insert into job listing, title created values, invalid input syntax for ID. Why is it creating an ID? Should not be creating an ID. I don't know what's going on there. All right. Let's try this again. Test, test, test. Error, database, into job listing, invalid syntax input for UUID. Like UUID should be getting automatically populated though. Application URL. What am I not sending? Oh, it's the company. It's the company field. Oh my gosh. The company field's killing us there. Okay. All right. 4 seconds left. Submit job listing. Nothing. Still errored out. Boom. Time exploded on us. Just out of curiosity. It was the company field that was messing things up. Now we're still getting... Now I'm getting like CORS errors or something. Or nope. Does it show it posted? Did we actually get a job listing in here? Yeah, we did. Of course, after time, the company field getting us, I should have like actually ran that down. Did not. That's the way these things go, man. I was always hairy trying to develop against the clock. All right, let's just test this. Test with categories. I'm curious if this will actually work now because we have the... oh, now I'm getting CORS errors. All right, this is just me humoring myself at this point. pnpm dev. Let's restart the Docker container. Oh, no, we don't need to do dev. Okay, so we restart this Docker container. Fire back up this Nuxt application. See if this is actually going to do something. Just, again, me humoring myself here. Directus is online. Nuxt application's online. Is this actually going to submit? Localhost 3000. Post a job. Test with categories. Can't even spell. Programming. Apply some tags. This is a great job. Here's the test. We hit submit. I probably need to add some submission there. You don't have permission to access this. Why don't I have permission to access this? I've got public controls. Tags. Content is great. Oh, it's because the junction collection. Ah, boy. Yeah. So tags is actually should be something like this where I have tags. What's this going to be? Tags underscore ID equals tags ID. All right, so in that case, now new. Is this actually going to be what we want it to be? Full-time ID. So when it gets submitted, I'm hoping that should be what we want. Tag underscore ID. Tags underscore ID. No. Save without formatting. What are we doing here? sometimes you can't win them all. Sometimes you just can't win. Test. Does that actually submit? It does submit with the category. So there we go. Roundabout way of getting to this. We still didn't get exactly where we wanted, but what did we actually get to here? I blew this one up. So we managed to show a list of jobs. We let users kind of post a job for free. Were these sorted by category? We didn't even do that. Subscribe to job posts. We didn't even get there. Man. All right. That's the way it rolls. Thanks for joining me on this episode of 100 Apps, 100 Hours. I'll catch you on the next one.